pleasure to welcome you here this evening for the final presentation of Deep River during this year's Lent. It's amazing. Next week is Holy Week already. There's a whole list of events for next week. You can find them on the church's website and then also in Sunday's bulletin, so we'd love to see you on Sunday as well. It's my pleasure to introduce Dorian. Dorian is one of our own, which is great. He sings in the choir here at Christ Church, Detroit. Come on up, Dorian. I know you through professional connections.
Yes.
And professional friends and friends in common. But perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself just about what you want people to know about you.
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dorian L. Dillard II. I am a Detroit native. I attended Detroit School of the Arts right down the street. I am a product of Detroit Public Schools. I attended Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina, which is a private historical Black college and university. And for my master's, I attended the illustrious University of Michigan, Go Blue. And I love music. I'm also a composer and arranger. And I sing. Just a smidge.
So, the common thread through running through all of our Tuesday Deep River events is Change My Name. That's the spiritual that we've been exploring. So you're going to sing that tonight. But the first thing you're going to sing is Guide My Feet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir, I am. This is Jacqueline Hairston's arrangement of the spiritual Guide My Feet. It is one of my favorite settings. It's a very meditative setting, which I think really lends to the text. So I hope that you enjoy it. And
How we doing?
Shall we do it? Let's.
Oh, I told Jesus it would be If he changed, if he changed my
After a minute, it's hard to stop after we get going.
Boy, that's good.
I wish we kept going. You ready?
I'm going to tell on Dorian. I'm going to tell his secret. We know this in the choir. So you can't, is it on? Are we on?
No.
Yeah, it's on. Oh, the battery's on. See that? Can y'all hear me? Oh, still can't?
Use your outside voice.
All right, so I guess I'll use this voice. I'm telling on his secret. Choir people know this. Dorian has one of the highest male ranges that I've heard. He likes to sing a B6. Can you play what a B6 is? He literally sings that from up there. If you ever hear this ringing high note, it's probably him. He just takes control, and it sounds really good when he does it. So, the doxology.
The doxology.
That's him.
That's my jam, y'all. I really know that song. I know that song.
So, I have a home court advantage. I know him. I've known him for a few years. And I know a little bit, just a little bit, maybe more than you know. So maybe we could shed some light on it from a musical advantage. So I know that, first of all, Dorian is a wonderful singer, wonderful, wonderful artist all around. I had the opportunity to recently be in Operamoto's Magic Flute with him, and it was a good time just sharing the stage with him, lots of fun. And, you know, he sang, he just sang. He was Tamino, the lead role. And he also has sung with Detroit Opera, which is also Michigan Opera Theater, was Michigan Opera Theater, now they're Detroit Opera. And I know that Dorian comes from a musical family. Your dad was a musician, right?
Yes.
So tell us how your background in your household and growing up plays into you singing spirituals throughout your adulthood, and how it plays into you being this well-rounded musician, because he also can sing almost any genre, which is kind of rare for some people. So I'm some people. So tell us how that background plays into it.
Well, I am glad. I recently lost my father in August of 2020, and he was a very large influence on me musically. My dad had a musical background. He was a very well-known church musician as well, an amazing songwriter and singer and performer, and my whole family pretty much sings. We would have rehearsal, literally in elementary school. Everyone else would be outside playing, and my dad would have me and my 5 other cousins on our Jackson 5 energy and singing gospel and spirituals. And my dad had a very well rapport with my elementary school, and I will never forget one of my first encounters with spirituals was him playing his own little arrangement of Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho at the elementary school African American History program. And from there, my dad's taste of music was large. So there'd be Jesse Norman. I remember specifically the Jesse Norman and the Kathleen Battle CD. Kathleen Battle was his girl, y'all. And he loved Kathleen Battle. He loved opera. He studied briefly. And him and my mom were met from him being her choir director.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so music is in my veins, as you would like to say, but it definitely gave me a vast respect for every genre and an appreciation for every genre. I see and hear the beauty pretty much in just about, I can find something I like in about every song. And something I don't like in about every song as well too. So I think that I have to attribute that taste and appreciation from just hearing it growing up. Choirs, gospel choirs, and 3-part harmonies. And my older sister was at Detroit School of the Arts, so I was going with her to concerts and hearing choral music in the 1st, 3rd, 2nd grade. And so I was just thrown into it, you know. Now here I am.
Okay, so did you have at DSA, you had Miss Valentine or did you have Miss Sipes or both?
I was a pupil of Miss Valentine.
Okay.
Miss Sipes retired my sophomore year, my 10th grade year.
Okay.
10th grade year, and I didn't get into her choir by that time. Miss Valentine kept me in what we call the beginner's choir, but y'all know I had to run for president because I was like, I'm not one of, no, but yes, and we got better scores than concert choir that year as well. But again, yeah, no, I didn't work with Miss Sipes, but I worked with Miss Valentine all 4 years and every 6 or 7 ensembles that she directed.
And you all sang a lot of spirituals with her, right?
A lot of spirituals and a vast amount. And I want to say that there are some spirituals that we like to call standards. As choir singers, you know, we have those arrangements that are really popular. And Miss Valentine did the justice of always finding obscure pieces and pieces that aren't usually done. She kind of strayed away from standards. She'd throw one in the concert, but you would usually hear a concert full of songs or spirituals that you hadn't heard, and that also widened my respect, especially for choral and solo sacred music.
So, so you get to Claflin, and similar experience. You studied with Dr. Lori Hicks for a while, right?
Yes, ma'am.
See, I told you I have a home court advantage. I know his life story. So your spirituals landscape there, similar, because you went to school with Corinthia, right?
Yes.
So Corinthia was here. Oh, nice.
If you were here for the first night, I went to
Testing. Not on.
school with Chantel Woodard, the first soloist, and Corinthia as well. Me and Chantel actually went to middle and high school together.
So it's just a wide circle of relationships that just stay, right? Testing. There we are. Great. So there's just a wide circle of continuous relationships, and somehow I got pulled into you all's sphere, and it's been great. They're younger than me, so they were not in high school by the time I was gone. So there's that.
About 1 year.
Okay. So in your selections, Jacqueline Hairston, "Guide My Feet." How long have you been singing that one?
I've sung that maybe about since maybe my master's, the beginning of my master's. So maybe since about 2016 or so. Can you guys hear me good here? 2016 or so. So what's that? 6 years, 4 years, 5 years? Somewhere up in there. Right?
Okay.
This is what, 25?
I think I remember hearing you say too, one time, how hard that was for you to learn at first, or to sing, right?
Yes.
Tell us how that felt then and how that feels now. So I'm just going to give you all the singer's background. Songs have to get baked in. They have to become organic as we sing them. So it's not just about text. It's not just about notes. Sometimes it's about, wow, I really couldn't sing this at my master's recital. And then 1 year later after singing it, what do you know? I can sing it now. So it takes some time to get in. So could you talk about the whole learning process and how that went for you with that particular one, since it's lived with you for a while?
Absolutely. Well, for that one specifically, I changed the key and took the key down. But no, the speech she's talking about is a Jacqueline Hairston piece, and she's very right with having to get the song that we like to say in the body, where you can do it secondhand nature because you've spent so much time with it, and that's pretty much the uphill battle for all musicians, is to get it in the muscle memory, and whatever muscle that you're stressing, whether it be an instrument or the body. So it just takes time, and I think that there's that one performance you have, and you're like, it's in there. And you have that moment, and then you continue to perform it if you so choose. But I like to switch it up, but like I told y'all before I sang that one, that's such a good one. I love that one.
Okay. Why did you pick these two? Why did you pick Guide My Feet to pair with Change My Name? And how can they relate? How do they relate? But specifically, what was your thought process?
My thought process was I wanted to, anytime I do program, I try to do, even if it's just two pieces, one that will kind of vary the other and differ from the other, whether it differ in emotion and in the whole idea of the song. I try to like to give a contrast, yeah, especially when it's two pieces. That makes it so easy. And so I like to build a contrast, and I think that the spiritual Guide My Feet is more of a prayer-like spiritual, whereas the I Changed My Name spiritual is more of a declarative statement of a spiritual where you're standing on what you are stating and saying, whereas Guide My Feet is more internal versus external. I think is a really good way to describe the differences of two pieces and why I picked them as well.
Okay.
All right, how'd I do?
So, since the common theme is Change My Name, you are a second.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us what that means to you?
Yes. Oh, man. I am a second, and for the longest time, I didn't like going by Junior. I just felt like Junior had a little more, bear with me while I look for the word, personable. This is my Junior, you know what I mean? Right? Whereas second is like, I'm the first, this is the second, so forth and so forth. And for a long time I went by, I am the second, and now I didn't know that the way that second and junior are set up, you're a second when there's a third. And if there's not a third, you just go by junior. But, I just liked how the Roman numeral looked at the end of my name, too. But the way that relates, especially with the spiritual that we're elaborating on this for the series, I thought that it was very interesting to come upon this at this time, and while still fairly grieving the passing of my father. And I think that it kind of shows that it's not always just in the actual, I think that the spiritual is not just in the act of changing one's name, but more so changing one's outlook on life, one's personality, and changing. There's another spiritual entitled Fix Me Jesus, which is more so about, I want to be better. I want to be a better person. I want to be the better version of me. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, And Change My Name, I think that is one of those spirituals that's right in that, under that umbrella as well, where it's more so about, for me, in my interpretation, I took that as it being about not being the same person that I was the day before. So making those changes that you want to make, making those things that you know that you can be better at, whether it just be getting up earlier in the morning or, making sure you take your medicine on time or something, I don't know, but it just attends to self-improvement with the help of Jesus. And I hope I answered that. There's an answer in there somewhere. Take the meat and throw it away.
All right, so your questions. Do you have any questions for Dorian? John.
So it doesn't say who wrote the version of Change My Name.
Yes, that is.
So you asked who did the arrangement of Change My Name? Because it was different. It's been different every week, right? It's been always the choice of the artist, the guest artist, to pick it.
I thought maybe Dorian did it.
Kind of. This is Pamela Warrick-Smith's arrangement, and Ed gave me the liberty to be more free with it, which I appreciate because Change My Name lends to the gospel, more of the gospel side of spirituals, this arrangement specifically. So I tried to give that tone of sorts as well.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
What else? It's in your program. We could sing it ourselves.
All right. Are we sitting in sections?
And he's a comedian as well. That's what I've learned about him in the past however many years. He is funny.
Let's sing all 4 verses.
Yes.
It's the last one. You might as well sing, right?
I was just curious to ask you, Dorian, you said that
Thank you for that question. I believe that as the artist that I am, because spirituals have had such a large part in the ground floor of my foundation, I always program spirituals in my recitals, especially, there's so many and they're so good. But definitely as not just the closer, but I even may start with a spiritual. You'll find my spirituals in the middle of my programs. There are so many great arrangements and compositions of spiritual and spiritual cycles, where I just believe that a spiritual can go on every recital. And I also believe that everyone can sing spirituals, and there's a spiritual for everyone, you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that find the one that resonates with you. Just with any other piece, you want to do what resonates with you because it will show. All that for just that word, right?
It's a great question. It's, it's truly American music.
Yes.
Right? And so if you travel, if you perform in other countries,
yes.
It's so important to take those with you.
Yes.
Maya Angelou used to say, I bring all these people with me when I step up to the podium. It's just the same with the spiritual.
Absolutely.
There are several spirituals arranged for organ, and I always try to incorporate some of them because so much of the world hasn't heard these spirituals. Not just Europeans, but people in South America and Asia and elsewhere, they have no idea.
Yes, absolutely.
Great question.
So many are passed down from tradition, and so, that's hard to get to across the
Right, so many reasons why.
Yeah.
I was going to ask,
Oh, Lord. Have you ever arranged any on your own?
Yes.
And which ones are your favorites that you yourself have arranged?
I have several choral arrangements of spirituals, which include Wade in the Water for soprano, soprano, alto, alto, divisi, chorus.
Did you sing all the parts?
I did. I sang all the parts for the recording to sing to the publisher. I sure did. I have a poem, Poor Mourner's Got a Home at Last. Another one that is so beautiful, written for mixed choir divisi with soprano and tenor solo. And what else? I have a Swing Low C Chariot for tenor male chorus, as well as a different one for female chorus. And a Fix Me Jesus, which is one of my newer ones that I'm still working on. And yeah, I think that's all my spirituals. I have a couple of jazz pieces, a couple of core folk songs.
So Dorian has played Fix Me Jesus before, and maybe a couple other things. He's very creative. He is very, very, very creative, and he has a very distinguished ear. And his arrangements sound very new age in a very good way. So they are very contemporarily arranged. They do not sound like they will come out of a hymnal. The harmonies are got a lot of dissonance, a lot of notes that clash, but he makes it sound very pretty. He softens it up a lot. And I was like, so when are you gonna write something for mezzo? This is great. No, but really, when are you gonna write something for mezzo?
I actually haven't written any solo works yet.
Well,
I am a choir nerd.
I'll guinea pig for you.
Yep,
they
you sure
sound pretty
will.
good.
You sure will.
Was there a question in the back?
Oh, she was amen.
Okay. When I introduced, when I announced to the crowd last week that this week would be the last one and you would be the soloist, I mentioned that with everything you've got going on, just I as the music director, kind of predict that you're going to be moving on. So, give me a 5-year projection. What's in the works? What do you want to do? Where are you going?
I have been in talks with a professional male ensemble that I am looking to apply to that could be moving me out to Minnesota in a couple of years or so, or months. I am still performing. The performer's life is that of a hustler. So you're, just pretty much making my headway and staying consistent. I'm also a teacher in Detroit Public Schools, so I teach Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 2:40. Children. Let's just leave it there, children. So I'm still doing that and just performing, and I am singing. The publishers are waiting for me to send those pieces back. First, my Water is Wide, and I did a choral arrangement of The Water is Wide, and an original piece of Matthew 6:33 for a male ensemble that will be published by Gentry Publications, which is a branch of the Fred Bach Publishing Company. I have to send those into those, actually ASAP. And so I'm just working on, the type of composer and arranger I am is, I have to hear it and feel it. So, the whole idea of being a composer that we need 50 pieces by the end of the year, well, kind of is not my zhuzh. I more so just compose when I move. I mean, I'll hear a piece and I gotta get this down. And sometimes it'll finish out as I started. But so we're still doing pieces, still performing, still teaching. 5 years or so, I want to be settled. Settled and happy, well-rounded and wealthy, a wealthy musician. Amen. Everyone touch and agree with me on that, and it'll happen. Yes.
Any last questions? I did twist his arm just a little bit before that.
Good.
Oh, that's right, you need the score. Okay. This is another spiritual entitled Mount Zion. You may have heard it as On My Journey Now. Very famous by Mahalia Jackson as a gospel song, but it is in fact a spiritual. And this arrangement is by Dr. Lori Celeste Hicks, who we were speaking of, an alum of Renaissance High School, and my very first voice teacher at Claflin University.
On my journey now. On my journey now. soul got happy. My soul got happy. Yes, Lord, my soul got happy. And I stayed all day, Mount Zion. You can talk about me just as much as you please. Well, I'll talk about you too when I bend on my knees. Mount Zion, Mount Zion.
Since I'm the last to wear this, I'll just put it on. Thank you, Dorian, for tonight. It has been amazing to hear you in your full splendor, just all by yourself, and to hear your story. I delight in your high notes. If you ever see me smiling with my eyes at the altar, it's because I'm hearing Dorian sing welfare. And it is just the best. You lift all of us up with your joy. Thank you. And I want to thank all of our soloists who have shared in this series, those of you who are watching from home. So we have heard from Calebria, and I have more to say for you in just a second. Alexander, Chantel, and Corinthia, yes. So what a dream team, all of you. And as each of you has shared of yourselves and your journeys, and the struggles and how you've persevered. I know I have heard parts of myself in your stories as well, and I have felt inspired and fortified to keep going, and I would think I'm not alone in that feeling. So thank you for sharing so fully and openly of yourselves. I hope that all of us may, over these past 5 weeks of Lent and of Deep River, reflected upon any journeys that we may be on, any struggles that we are facing, challenges, discernments, wonderings how we are being called and what we are being called to do and who we are being called to be. And I hope that each of us goes on into Holy Week, into the season of resurrection, and beyond, each day with more strength for the journey, and with an understanding that whoever we are called to be, we are not alone in that, and the one who creates us and calls us to be who we are is present right with us. The song "Change My Name" is a dialogue, isn't it? It speaks to a dialogue between ourselves and God. I remember Alexander speaking about how his language for God is, what he say, very colloquial, right? Like he talks with God quite a lot, and there's a back and forth. So I hope we would all find ourselves in this back and forth and speak with God and keep going. Calebria, thank you not only for singing, but for moderating and sharing your gifts of questions and speaking and teaching. You shine. Thank you. And Ed, thank you for shepherding this whole journey, for playing so brilliantly as always, and for sharing yourself, though you are mostly the question asker. You set the tone, you gathered us all, you created a space where we could reflect and be vulnerable, and thank you for everything that you have put into this. Thank you, Chuck, and to Desmond as well for recording, and thank you, Beth Ann, for all of the behind-the-scenes coordination throughout all of these. So our journey does continue into Holy Week, which begins this Sunday with Palm Sunday, as Ed mentioned, and into the following week. I would like to mention a bit about Good Friday and also Palm Sunday, if that's okay to share a little bit. So on Good Friday at 7 o'clock, the choir will be present to sing a number of pieces interspersed with readings, and where we're going together in that service is to reflect upon Good Friday as it happens every day, in a sense. So the anthems are around instances of Good Friday, of crucifixion in our lives together, in racism, in unjust violence of any form, in war, and how we together persevere and claim our identity in Christ and live as Christians, not in name only, but with our actions and our hearts. So we will hear a spiritual that night. It will be a setting of Soon I Will Be Done with the Troubles of the World, featuring Dorian, and also Kate Maida with the solos that night, or in that piece. We will hear, it's Italian, 16th century, but we'll hear the Miserere Mei by Gregorio Allegri with Calebria and Mike and Kate and Katrina, I believe, as the soloists. And we will also hear, the service starts out actually with a piece from the 7 Last Words of the Unarmed, a recent composition by Joel Thompson. And Calebria will be the soloist, singing the piece, Mama, I'm Going to College. Each of the movements in the 7 last words of the Unarmed are last words of Black men who were shot by police.
Yes.
Yes. And so Calebria will be bringing Mama, I'm Going to College to us. So please do come out on Good Friday night. I'm not sure if we'll be able to video it, so you'll want to make a point to come in person if at all able. There's also a noon service which will have some music that day. And on Palm Sunday, this Sunday, as we also reflect on the crucifixion journey, we will have music from Eastern Christian traditions. So a couple of anthems from that have connections to Eastern Orthodox Christian experience, and as that has taken shape, we will move in solidarity with Eastern Christians, particularly Ukraine, Polish, Eastern Orthodox, Slavonic Christians, and understanding that our journey is difficult and we are all in it together. Other things to mention? Well, there's Easter. What happens on Easter? Jazz hands for Easter. Easter Easter, 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. Full choir, youth choir, and handbell choir at the 11 o'clock service. So, other things to mention?
Friday evening, what's the time?
7 o'clock. Yes, Letha Ann. What about Monday, Thursday? There's Monday, Thursday as well. Monday, Thursday, April 14th, 7 o'clock service in here with just a little music. It finishes in silence with the stripping of the altar. Ed will be playing a Barber's Adagio.
Oh.
Yeah. So, come out for that. Good Friday, 12, 7 is with all the music. Holy Saturday at 9, there is a spoken, brief morning prayer followed by a day of preparation. So if you have any time to lend at all on Saturday, please join our wonderful Altar Guild and Flower Guild and play with flowers.
I thought it was this.
And Easter. Yeah. Okay. Let us pray. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Holy One, you go before us. You go before us to prepare a place for us, and there is no place we could journey where you have not already been. Guide our feet, O Lord. Hold our hands. Stand by us as we run this race, as we travel the journeys that you have set before us. For we do not want to journey in vain, but to always be you and desire what you would have for us. Be present with us as we go upon our own journeys this night. Be present with all who are on our hearts in need of your special care. And at all times remain close to us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.